Good evening. It's 7:30 and I herewith call the February 22nd, 2017 Historic District Commission of the City of Gaithersburg to order. And I'd like to start with the roll call, if I can start on my left.
Frank Johnson, Assistant City Attorney.
Gregory Mann.
Mary Jo LaFrance.
Chris Kurtz.
John Ruddy.
Dean Ventola.
Chris Berger.
Okay, we have a quorum. Our first order of business on the agenda is the election of officers. We do not have all the commissioners here tonight, so I've discussed with the commissioners on the bench and my vice, and so we're going to defer that to our next meeting. And so I'm going to move next to the approval of the minutes of the January 20. Oh, thank you. That's why I have a vice chair. This is our official statement and that guides our work tonight. This commission is empowered to meet and act under Article 12 of the City Code of Gaithersburg. The technical qualifications of the staff of this commission and the members of the commission are on file with the City of Gaithersburg and are available on request to any applicant and are made a part of the legal record of each and every application heard this evening. Each application heard this evening is considered on its own merits and is not to be considered as establishing precedent for any other application. So, thank you, Mr. Roddy. Let me move next to the approval of the minutes. Has everybody looked at the January 25th minutes?
Yes.
All right, any comments, concerns?
No.
All right, the chair's open to a motion
I
to,
move they be approved.
I do have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Great.
Abstain,
Abstained.
because I was not here last
Yes,
month.
thank you very much. So 3 and 1 abstention.
Got it.
Thank you, Dean. All right, our first substantive order of business is Historic Work Area Permit 7497, 16 Walker Avenue. Chris, have you a presentation?
Yes, I do. The subject property at 16 Walker is a 2.5-story four-square with craftsman details. It was built circa 1906. The property is zoned R90 and is contributing to the Brooks, Russell, and Walker Historic District. The Historic Area Work Permit comes before the HDC in accordance with Section 24-227A of the City Code. The applicant seeks to install approximately 210 feet of wood picket fencing with a gate. Here is a representative example of the fence and gate. The fence will be located at the rear of the house along the property's south and west boundaries and will measure 4 feet tall. At the rear of the house, an L-shaped fence segment will extend from the back left corner of the house to the corner of the garage. It will measure 3 feet tall and include a gate. The neighborhood's design guidelines note the following in regard to fences on page 26. Under the second bullet, it reads that the fence style should be appropriate for the architectural style and scale of the house, and fences should be simple wooden pickets or wrought iron of simple design if visible from the street. The guidelines continue on page 27, beginning with the second bullet. The fence should be constructed so that posts and/or framework are inside the fence. And the last bullet on that page says maximum height of fences and hedges are as follows: facing the street 3 feet, side yards 3 to 6 feet, rear yards up to 6 feet. And the applicant, Mr. Stephen Budd, is here if you have any questions, if you'd like to come to the podium.
No questions?
Do you want to ask about Comcast?
Can you
Yes.
still come to the podium in case they...
Hi, good evening. Would you state your name for the record, please?
Steve Budd,
Steve, hi, welcome.
welcome.
First off, do any commissioners have any conflict with reviewing this fence
No.
issue?
No.
Okay, thank you. So Steve, you don't have to say anything. If there is anything you want to say, you're welcome.
Wonderful, no, I appreciate it, thanks.
Okay. So, ladies first.
I
Any
have
thoughts?
a question, actually. Chris, I don't see any conditions, but later on, there's some conditions for a fence. Should it be a condition that it be painted or stained?
That's my question too.
The design guidelines, and I'll go back to the map, it says that a fence should be painted or stained if it faces the street, but as you can see The proposed fence will not be, the addition
Thank you for
will
that
not be facing the street.
clarification. That's fine, I understand that perfectly, thank you. That
Okay.
was it?
All right, and Dean, any other thoughts for you?
I do just have one, I have two questions, actually. One for the applicant. You have, in plan, it shows up best the green and the red fence. Are you able to put that up
Yes, sir.
on the screen? Okay, well, anyway.
Here it is.
Perfect. The existing fence looks to be very different than your proposed fence, and just wondering your thoughts on that, why you're going with the different, and will you eventually change the existing over to the new type?
No, and we were speaking with that a minute ago, and I think I might have been miscommunicating with, we are going to keep it the same as the existing fence, as our next door neighbor Dan. So the back part where the proposed fence is, not the front where we'll have the picket fence. So the picket fence will run from the back left corner of the house to the front right corner of the garage. And then the same fence that our neighbor Dan has will run towards the back left corner of the house and then all the way back to connect to his fence. So yeah, I apologize for you.
No, that's okay, I'm just trying to get clarification,
Yeah,
which you
yep.
gave us. So let me see if I can understand it. There is just the front, small L-shaped fence where it says proposed gate.
Yep.
That's gonna be the picket.
That's correct. Yeah,
And
and
then-
we'll have that one gate right up there as
Okay,
well.
And then the long back L that will connect up with the green is gonna match the style of the
Exactly
green.
the same,
Okay.
yep.
Chris, can you put up for, I guess, the audience, the two different fence styles so everybody understands?
And we may need to condition it then to allow the applicant to add a tri-rail fence.
So yeah, it'll be exactly the same.
Okay. All right.
So that's there now, and you're saying that's not approved by the city?
No, that is also a style that would be approved,
Oh, okay.
but it's not what was presented to me.
Oh, okay, all right. And then I just have one quick question, one last question for you, Chris. The guidelines, can we go to the guidelines around page 6 of this? Not necessarily the PDF's page 6, but it was numbered as page 6.
Well, thanks, Mr. Budd.
Oh, thanks, sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Incidentally, you got big shoes to fill in that house. You know your predecessor.
That's what I hear.
Are you referencing the reports?
Yeah, it's the guidelines number 27. I just want clarification on it.
Here's the reports.
Okay, perfect, yeah. It says the guidelines continue on page 27, and then it says the fence should be constructed, the line item after that says maximum fence, maximum height of fence and hedges are as follows. Facing the street, it says 3 feet, okay, I
Mhm.
understand that. Side yards, it says 3 to 6 feet, I don't understand that, and rear yards are up to 6 feet. Is that a range, the 3 to 6
Yes,
feet?
it's
So
a
then
range.
why doesn't it duplicate the term up to 6 feet?
It can be anywhere from 3, 4, or 5 feet. It just gives a range to the homeowner.
So is that
Anything
a
in that
minimum
range.
of 3 feet?
Minimum of 3, maximum of 6.
Is that a typical, let me ask, wouldn't that be the same thing with the rear yards, minimum of 3 up to 6?
Rear yards can be up to, yeah, it would be the same. It's
Okay,
just,
then I
it's just the
understand.
way it's written.
Okay, you're
Yeah.
saying minimum, okay.
Yeah, this is standard throughout the city.
I get it. Can I just offer the idea, that if you guys ever address this document, just say
Yeah.
3 feet minimum, 6 feet maximum, that would be more clear. All right, that's it, the only
All right.
questions I have.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Commissioner Roddy.
No, he's covered everything I wanted to know.
All right.
Great.
Well, the staff has made a recommendation here. Have we a motion to adopt that recommendation?
Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, I think you should ask the audience if there's anyone who'd like to speak on the
Oh.
application.
Again, thank you. Commissioner Roddy, you're letting down on your job of keeping me on the straight and narrow.
So far,
Thank you. I apologize to the audience. Is there any audience member that would like to speak to this in any regard?
Hello, my name is Prentice Searles. I live at 10 Walker Avenue, and we support their new fence.
Good, thank you very much. Is there anyone else? Great, thank you, and thanks for the reminder, Greg. All right, commissioners, what is your pleasure? We have a recommendation from staff to approve it.
Can I request a second condition that the applicant provide staff with a representative example of the tri-rail fence prior to approval of the fence permit?
Commissioners, is that acceptable to you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I would move that the commission, based on the exhibits submitted and applicant's appearance tonight, and the staff reports and findings, approve the HAWP HIST 7497-2017 for fence construction, finding it's within compliance of section 24-227.2 of the city code with two conditions as they are stated. One is stated and one we have just discussed for the sample of the tri-rail fence.
Great. Have we a second?
I want to offer another thought. Shouldn't we put in, for the record, for the vote, the way the fence now will be built? That is, the L-shaped fence at the proposed gate will be the picket, and the long fence that extends to the from the side yard all the way to the backyard and across the backyard be matching the existing split, or I guess it's called the triple rail fence.
I think that's a good description.
Yes.
Okay, Chris?
Yeah, I agree
Will
with
you
that.
capture that
Mhm.
third condition there?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Commissioners. With that addition, then, do we have a motion?
That
Yes.
was,
Okay, and
Second.
second. All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Great, thank you very much. And welcome to the
Thank you.
neighborhood.
Appreciate
You've
it.
got wonderful neighbors.
We do, yeah.
Welcome, Sills. And again, just welcome. All right, our next order of business is for 102 Chestnut Street, fence removal and replacement. Chris, have we established?
Yes.
Well, any conflicts?
I do not have a conflict, but I would like to state that I live in the same historic district, that we are neighbors. And we did have a conversation this weekend about storm windows, but there was no ex parte, so I wanted to say that.
Very well, and for the record, Mr. Wessels was a former member of this body, and he's moved on to the Planning Commission. So welcome back. So Chris, go ahead, please.
Okay, the subject property at 102 Chestnut Street is a two-story Queen Anne style residence that was constructed circa 1906 at the southwest corner of Chestnut Street and Neem Avenue. The property is zoned R90 and is contributing to the Chestnut Meem Historic District. The historic area work permit comes before the HDC in accordance with section 24-227A of the City Code. The applicant seeks to remove 60 feet of the existing fence. And this is the section we're talking about here that would be removed. Immediately to the rear of the house, the replacement sections, which is in purple, will be in a slightly different location from the existing. And the fencing will be replaced with a 4-foot tall wood picket fence with capboard. The applicant seeks a 4-foot tall fence to contain a medium to large sized dog. According to the applicant, the fence to be removed is in poor condition. This is what that area currently looks like. The applicant intends to replace the remaining chain link fence at a future date with the same type of wood picket fence proposed as part of this application. The Chestnut Meem Historic District guidelines note the following in regard to fences on page 15. Note that the guidelines specify that front yard wood fences must be painted or stained, and the height should not exceed 3 feet. Because 102 Chestnut is a corner lot, the frontage along Neem Avenue is considered the front yard as well. The city can approve a fence permit for the applicant's 4-foot tall fence in the front yard, so long as the city manager or designee approves of it first. The applicant, Mr. Philip Wessel, is here if you have any questions.
Good evening, Commissioners. Philip Wessel, 102 Chestnut Street. One or two things I wanted to add. there are sort of two reasons that I'm proposing to do this in sections instead of all at once. The primary one, like Chris said, is that the existing fence and gate that's there is in pretty rough condition. It's chain link, it's not historically appropriate. The maiden reason is that pursuant to the requirements of the tree removal permit that the commission granted last fall for removal of the apple tree, I need to grind down the remaining stump, which I'm like to do in the next month. In order to get a piece of equipment big enough in there to grind down the stump, I need to cut out a section of fence, and so rather than patch it back, I'd like to replace this section now. Obviously, the goal being that if the commission finds the design acceptable, it'll sort of establish the standard, and in the next year or two, as we can afford to do the rest of the fence, we'll do it in a similar style.
Thanks. Let me ask, any members of the audience, anyone want to speak to this in any way? Okay. Dean, let me start with you this time. We'll go right to left.
I don't have any questions for the applicant. My big concern is the length of the fence along Mean. Because the street frontage is so extensive, it's almost 300 feet, I think 267 feet. A tall fence along that, I think, would look not appropriate with the rest of the neighborhood. There's a fence right across the road that looks to be like it meets the 3 foot. It's a split rail and it meets the 3 foot, I would imagine. But I can also offer the thought that while I'm not necessarily for a much taller fence, right now, from what I read in the report, the existing fence, even though it's chain link, is apparently supposedly taller than 3 feet currently, and it's been there quite some time. I asked Chris right at the beginning of the meeting what he thinks that height is. He was not sure, but he thought that the fence has been there for about 15 to 17 years. I think 17 years. So to me,
Probably more than that.
even better. So to me, that establishes the precedent that it is existing at that height. So I am all for allowing it to be replaced by the same height. If that's less than 4 feet, that's fine. If it's more than 4 feet, again, I'm fine with that.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Rodney.
Yes, sir. Let me ask, what area on the chart we were just speaking about is that in which the dog would be
It would
housed?
be in, the fence right now only encloses what, from a practical standpoint, is considered the rear yard. I understand the zoning setbacks, but it's basically from the rear of the house as it stands now back to the sort of narrow point of the lot. We don't have a dog yet. It's something we'd like to get in the near future as the kids get a little older, so that's sort of the trying to be proactive. But the fence as it is now is set back. The section that we're not talking about tonight that runs parallel to Meme Avenue is set back 3.5 feet from the street, which would be, whenever we get around to replacing it, it would be in about the same space. With the exception of one place where there's actually a tree that has grown through the fence and we're going to need to jog it around there. But we wouldn't be right on, if the concern is a dog next to people walking by the street, we'd be probably about 3 feet off the curb line where people would be walking.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner?
No questions?
I have no questions myself. Let me just give a second offer if anyone in the audience. Okay, and we have checked for conflicts.
You have somebody? Right?
Oh, please. Dr. Searles.
Apprentice Searles, 10 Walker Avenue. We do have dogs, and what we have discovered is that we've got one that is quite the escape artist. So giving the extra half foot is pretty critical to making sure that a medium to large size dog doesn't actually go over the top of the fence. So I think the design that they have would actually look quite good going down Meme Avenue, and would give a picket fence look that so many people expect in an older neighborhood. So I like the design, and I think that replacing that fence at the appropriate time when the resources are available would be very good, and would be good for the neighborhood.
Great, thank you very much. Anyone else? All right, commissioners, what is your pleasure? We have a recommendation from staff to approve it with 2 conditions.
Dean, would you like to?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I would say adjust the first item. It says grant approval of fence in excess of 3 feet in height. I would say strike that and just put, to be no taller than the existing fence.
If I may interject real quick on that, the reason for that condition is because the city code does require the city manager or designee to approve the fence over 3 feet along the front.
Oh, I see, you're saying that the city manager, okay, okay, well, let's keep it as, item number 1 remains as is. Item number 2 remains as is, which says it has to be stained or painted. So then I'm going to add an item 3, I guess, another caveat, which would be that the proposed fence can equal the height of the existing fence or less.
Or less or more?
Not more.
Hold on.
If I can offer an observation and a comment here. The question that arises is where, to me at least, is where you measure the height of the existing fence. The existing fence, given that it's in poor condition and was not installed necessarily plumb level or straight,
Well, I
you
saw
know.
it was leaning, but I'm saying that I saw also that there were many areas that were vertical.
Yeah, my question is, as you look at the property, if you walk the area that I'm replacing now, comes up here as you walk down Meme Avenue, if you're measuring at any given spot, the fence changes in its actual measured height. My intent would be to establish a consistent height above ground so that the fence follows the topography and has a consistent height. No matter where you measure it, it will always be 4 feet. So that's all. That's my only question is, saying match the existing. It's a question of where you measure that.
Well, I would say it is the essence of the fence, regardless of whether it went higher or lower per grade. And I would recommend that staff goes out and measures, and if he comes up with 3 feet or 3'6" or 4, taken at the average location, that would establish the height. Essentially, my point is that you have a fence there now, and if it exceeds the 3 feet required, then I'm recommending that it exceed that to match what's there now.
Okay. I mean, it definitely exceeds the 3 feet.
Yeah.
I just, from a construction standpoint, is your intent that it be, if it's 3 foot 10 3/4 inches average when you divide up all the distances, that's the height, or
If you're asking, am I proposing that the fence height changes as it goes along? No.
Okay.
I'm saying one consistent height, which I think you are as
Yes,
well.
absolutely.
Absolutely. Architects want it to look good, so.
And I got to build it, so.
Yeah, but I would just say that establish the average height, and that would be what you
Okay.
do consistently throughout the entire project.
Great.
So I'm looking at city code actually right now as it relates to fences, and it does say where the 2 sides differ in level, the measurement should be made from the surface of the higher yard.
Yeah.
So it'd be from the
Wow.
highest point would be the measurement take.
And I'm all right with the applicants asking for it to be the 4 feet. I think
Yes.
the only thing we have left to do is to get approval from the city for
Yeah.
that. So I don't know, if we need a 3rd condition is my point.
Yes, I agree. And particularly in light of Mr. Searles's recommendation, I think the applicant should be given province to pick the height and to make sure that it will be adequate for the needs of the kids and the dog, as long as it's uniform, and they're gonna have to apply to the city manager anyway, but it will be uniform. So I think the 2 have got it covered, and particularly if we look at the code, Dean, if it goes to the topmost point, that could probably point more in the direction that will be most beneficial to the homeowner and the public.
The only way I could see it is we could say no more than 4 feet high. That could work. Is that along the lines of, Dean, what you're trying to do? Make sure it's not any
I'm
more
not sure,
than
what
4?
are you trying to, you're saying that the existing fence provides a benchmark,
Right,
and
right.
that it should be consistent with that benchmark.
Well, what I'm saying is that the city code requires 3-foot max on street frontage. And so the applicant is proposing to go higher than that.
Yes.
And I'm looking at the neighborhood, I've got it on Google, and right across the street it appears to be a 3-foot fence. So are we setting the precedence where we're now allowing 4 foot?
No.
That's-
Well, he is supplying to the city manager, as I understand it, for a variance.
Yeah, the
Right.
city manager can grant a
So
variance
if
up
the
to
city
6 feet.
manager grants that, the city manager grants that.
Right? Okay, well.
If the record does indicate that part of the discussion was based on the fact that the existing fence is 4 feet, that may allay the concern that in terms of establishing a precedent of just allowing it without any basis at all.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Commissioner Ventolo, would you, understanding that the measurement is gonna be from the top point and that the applicant is gonna need to go to the city to get an okay and it will be uniform, are you comfortable enough with 1 and 2 as stated, or do we need to add something?
Nope, that's fine. You can go.
Okay, all right. So is there a motion?
Yeah, I thought he made the motion.
Oh, did you already? Okay, all right.
I would second it.
Okay, and so with the motion we're voting on, though, is the staff recommendation with the 2 conditions stated.
That's correct.
Okay, have we a second?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, raising right along. We're now moving to 124 East Diamond Avenue, where we're faced with a monumental decision. Have we, I couldn't resist.
We do have.
Mr. Berger, have
we
you something to share with us?
I do. The subject property at 124 East Diamond Avenue, known as the Exchange Building, is a 2-story Italian Renaissance style structure. The property is zoned CBD and is individually designated by the city. The historic area work permit comes before the HTC in accordance with section 24-227A of the city code. In December of 2015, the HTC approved a monument sign for the property as part of HIST 7196-2015. However, the applicant would like to pursue a different monument sign, which is what you see on this diagram. The proposed polished stone monument sign measures 31.3 square feet and will be placed parallel to East Diamond Avenue to the southwest of the front porch. It will be about 20 feet from the curb. The sign will contain the business name, logo, website, phone number, and address. For perspective, this is the approximate location of the sign. The sign shown on the ground is 6 feet long, and the monument sign will measure a bit more than 7 feet long. The Exchange Building is individually designated, so the Historic District Design Guidelines for Brooks, Russell, and Walker and individually designated sites apply. The proposed sign, and as you can see, we just have a little bit of information there. And to go back, they reference commercial signs shall follow sign guidelines for the area in which they are located, that is Old Town. So the Old Town guidelines state the following. Note that letter heights are not addressed in either of the design guidelines. The Old Town guidelines specify that sign elements not specifically addressed must adhere to the city code. Per section 24-212M5 of the city code, letter heights on monument signs must be from 7 to 12 inches tall. The letter heights on the proposed sign do not appear to meet those minimum size requirements, so the applicant will need to receive an adjustment from the Planning Commission prior to issuance of a sign permit. And Mr. Brian Cable of Thibodeau Mortuary Services is here if you have any questions.
Oh, yes, have we any conflicts in reviewing this? Okay, thank you. And then I am gonna give the public a chance to speak after we hear from the applicant. Sir,
I don't think there's any more than.
could you state your name
Oh,
for the record,
I'm Brian
please?
Cable from Thibodeau Mortuary.
Thank you, sir.
I don't know that there's any more that needs to be said in opening comments other than what Chris said. We've just decided to go a different route with our sign than the one that was originally proposed. We feel that this one is more stately as well as more period-like and more of a representation of what the funeral home is going to be.
Yes.
You know, it's,
Yes.
to me, that says grave marker, tombstone, funeral home. The other one was more dental
Right.
office, city hall
Yes,
type
yes.
monument sign.
All right.
Does-
Mary Jo, starting with you.
Have no questions. Seems like an excellent choice.
All right, Commissioner Roddy?
No question.
Commissioner Ventola?
Yes, I have two questions for you. The center panel, is
Mhm.
that also going to be the polished stone, the eagle blue?
One moment, let me refer to the notes. I believe it is. It's all the same material. It may be shaded different. It's granite. I am showing the center is jet black
Okay,
with
so
a
where it
gold
says
inset of lighting,
So-
or lettering.
The center rectangular panel that has the lettering, the Thibodeau lettering,
Uh-huh.
that's going to be jet black?
Jet black, yes.
Oh, okay, all right, so you're gonna have the top is polished jet black stone,
Correct.
the center portion is jet black, and then the base is jet black, and then you're gonna have two columns on each side, that's the blue.
That are eagle
Okay,
blue,
I get
polished
it.
eagle blue,
All right,
yes.
and you mentioned, and I didn't hear it, the lettering color is going to be what? Is it just gonna be carved in, or is
It's
there a color?
gonna be carved in. It will be, there's sort of a process like of an acid wash they do to bring out. I believe we've settled in on a gold,
Okay.
but pardon the pun, it's not set in stone.
Uh,
So if the council has recommended, the commission has,
Sir, please don't take on my bad habits. We're expecting better behavior from the participants.
and of course, as Chris said, we would, if the commission does approve this, we would seek the city to give us a variance or an exception to the 7-inch. There's not enough room for 7-inch letters on the sign.
Okay, as far as construction concerned, are you planning on having a footing under this? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
great, going down proper, okay, good.
Mhm.
And then just for the record, I want to point out on the applicant's, I think page 6, the page number 6, there's a diagram at the top, exhibit 2. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is not a proper diagram. Is that a correct statement?
I'm sorry?
Is the drawing there incorrect? I believe it is.
Not to my knowledge.
Well,
I mean,
okay.
I'm glancing at it, I'm not, you know,
Well, according to this, the monument sign looks like it's parallel to your building. Is
that is correct.
Okay, but then, all right, well, if that's correct, I have bigger questions for you, but let me just point to the other diagram that you provided.
Yes, the sign will be parallel to the building. It would
All right.
almost, yes.
But basically, it will lay, although it's 1 foot longer, where the sign is.
There's another diagram that I saw that it was perpendicular.
I
You may
think
be
the
referencing,
original-
yeah.
Okay, so that's the incorrect one. All right.
I
all
believe
right.
so. The original
Okay,
version
so you're now
was.
gonna go parallel to the building. All right, if you are going parallel to the building, then my concerns on this diagram is that it doesn't appear proper. When I look at the tree location of what you have versus, in the diagram, versus the photograph of the tree, it appears to be in conflict.
Which
So
tree? The
the-
proposed tree directly behind?
Well, Is that proposed? So was there,
Yes.
there was a tree in a photo, has that been removed?
The tree in the photo behind the sign is future.
There was a photo that had a tree,
I have it on the
It's on the
screen.
screen.
there.
This one, is that the one?
It's on the screen.
and so where is that tree in reference to this diagram on page 6?
Can I see page 6? To the left. You can't see it from this photo.
So it's not shown on the diagram then?
It's not correct. It's not shown on the
The
diagram.
tree technically is not on their property.
Correct.
Yep.
And that,
Dean, in terms of the picture there,
Right.
if you were to look in that lower left corner and kind of come out
Mhm.
from the screen, if you could forward, I think it's perching there.
for the record, that tree is seen better days.
Looks like it from here.
It's gonna need buried soon.
Mhm.
Is that a city tree? Do we know?
Well, it's in the right of way.
Okay.
I'll have to look into that.
All right, if that is the proposed, I have no concerns or questions on it.
All right. Dr. Roddy?
Nothing.
I think it's an elegant design, and the only thing I would point out is that I'm assuming it's actually gonna be interfaith rather than interdaith. Because I've never heard of an interdaith, ceremony.
My copy says interfaith. I don't know how we got interdaith over there. I do have one question. This is, or a comment if I may. This sign is astronomical in price. As it is designed, we are tweaking, as long as the concept is there from what you're approving, would we need to reappear before this commission? If, you know, I mean, if I told you the cost number on this sign, I think we'd all have coronary events. But the concept is there. I mean, we may shift here or there, as well as the name of the funeral home may actually change. So that, is that something that would need to come back before the commission for approval?
It really depends on what is changed.
Okay. Okay.
I think we could leave that in, or here's what I would recommend, that we could leave that in staff's judgment if there appears to be such a material change in design that it would be something you would think maybe it ought to be rerun by us, that you could make that call. And on the other hand, if they change the name or the lettering, because they're gonna need to get the variance for the lettering anyway, but we could let you make that call if there's a substantial or material difference.
Yeah, I think that would be
Is
helpful.
that, are the commissioners comfortable with that?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
The size, dimensions, those kind of things.
It
It
wouldn't
was
change
radical.
dramatically. I mean, it's just, there's certain little caveats that just,
Yeah.
as soon as you do this, the price triples.
Okay.
Let me again ask the audience, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to this in any manner whatsoever? All right, have commissioners, what is your pleasure?
Let's see.
I could move to
Okay.
adopt staff recommendations. I move that the HCC, based on the exhibits submitted, the applicant's testimony and the staff report finding and recommendation, approve historic area work permit HIST 7525-2017, tree removals, finding it is in
No,
compliance.
no, you're up above.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yep. Just read up above that.
It's
Historic.
HIST 7524-2017, monument sign, finding it is in compliance with section 24-227-.2 of the city code, with one condition: applicants receive a letter height adjustment from the Gaithersburg Planning Commission prior to issuance of a sign permit.
Right. I would also add a two with the understanding that a finalized version be presented to staff to ensure no material alteration has been made from what was presented and approved by the commission on this date. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Second?
All right, second.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, now, Dean, we're ready.
Question.
And sir, good luck, and that is a very, very elegant thing, and I can but imagine, I mean, it's a very classy sign, and I can imagine you're gonna be mortgaging one of the kids to, because that's not inexpensive. There you go.
He doesn't know it.
So enjoy the summer.
No camp for you.
I'd be really good if I were you. Only kidding.
Thank you, Commissioner.
All right, thanks. All right, next we have a tree removal at 10 Walker Avenue.
The subject property at 10 Walker is a 2.5-story four-square style residence that was constructed circa 1914. Property is zoned R90 and is contributing to the Brooks, Russell, and Walker Historic District. The Historic Area Work Permit comes before the HDC in accordance with Section 24-227A of the City Code. The applicant seeks to remove 4 trees, 2 pear trees located at the southwest side yard, which are highlighted in yellow here, 1 and 2, and a pear tree and holly tree located at the northeast side yard, which is 3 and 4 highlighted here. None of the subject trees were included in the Historic District Tree Inventory completed in 1999. Therefore, the applicants are not required to plant replacements, though they have indicated they would do so anyway. The applicants, Prentice and Susan Searles, are here if you have any questions.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any conflicts?
No.
Okay. Mrs. Searles.
Good evening.
Good evening. For the record, would you state your name, please?
Susan Searles, 10 Walker Avenue.
And if there's anything you'd like to say, you're welcome and not
No, I was
obliged.
just here to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay. Dean, we're starting from your end again.
Okay, very good, thank you. My only question is, you know Bradford pears.
Mhm.
Do you know as a fact that they're Bradford pears, or are they Cleveland pears?
They're Bradford pears.
Okay, that's all I need to know, thanks.
John,
By me.
Nothing?
as long as you're sure they're Bradford, I have no questions.
Well, I'll tell you, do you know the difference?
Yeah, there is a difference.
There's an enormous difference. If you didn't take down your Bradford pears, they're gonna come down voluntarily one day.
Yes, I know that. That's
So-
why I'm applying.
Yeah, so there's no doubt these have to come down.
I've
And-
honestly never seen any Bradford pears this tall, and I think the reason that they are this tall is because they're sheltered by the houses, and
Yeah.
they are now taller than the houses
Wow.
and not
They'll snap, and you don't want them going in your house. I had to,
exactly.
one day, they both went down.
Mhm.
But in my front yard, all of a sudden, I had 20-year-old trees, all of a
A
sudden.
pair
I
of
had
pear trees.
A pair of pears, yeah.
There he goes again.
It was a nightmare, absolute
Okay.
nightmare. So,
Got it. Well, commissioners, what is your pleasure?
Well, I move that we approve, let's see, staff recommendation, and move HDC based on the exhibits submitted to the applicant's testimony and the staff report findings and recommendation, approve historic area work permit HIST 7525-2017, tree removals, finding it in compliance with 24227.2 of the city code with one condition. The applicants to obtain a tree removal permit from the city for each tree.
Already filled out.
Yay.
Ready to go.
All right, have we a second?
second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm not gonna make a joke about paring down the amount of trees around your house. All right, staff updates.
We have one. We are planning the annual required HDC training with
Yay.
MAHDC for this spring. In the past 2 years, we had been invited by Rockville, so our date was not flexible. But this year, we will hold our own, probably in this very room. So we want to find a date that meets everyone's schedule. Once I hear back from MAHDC on dates that work for them, I will email those dates to you, and we will select one anytime from late March through May. So hopefully we
Okay.
can get that nailed down easily.
All right. May I offer, since I am our representative on the Maryland Association of Historic District Commissioners, and they have some well-versed people, if we want anybody to present on a particular topic, I can certainly make a request to them, because they have a cadre of very good people, design people, legal
Yeah.
people, historic people, and so forth.
Yeah, I've been in contact with them, so it's just a matter of nailing down a date.
Great, okay, good.
Great.
Yeah, deal with Melanie Lytle? over
Yes.
there? Okay, good, great. Any other staff updates?
Would you like us to submit dates through email? How were you?
I've already
handling
submitted
that?
them dates that would work for meetings in this room. For
Okay.
example, this room is pretty much occupied every Monday and Wednesday, so it'd be a Tuesday or Thursday night. So I sent a bunch of Tuesdays and Thursdays throughout March, April, and May, and hopefully it works with their schedule.
Great, thank you so much.
Will do. Okay, and obviously, you'll get something out to the other commissioners that
Yes.
aren't here tonight?
Yes.
All right, commissioners, anything from any of you for the good of the order?
No.
Fools go where angels fear to tread. So let me ask my monthly question. What is cooking at 31 Walker?
Well, we gave
Or
him.
dare I ask?
Dare you ask? We gave him a deadline. He didn't meet it. We extended his deadline. He still didn't meet it. He said he was on vacation. So hopefully March.
Okay, all right. Well,
Chris, in terms of available dates, does March have 5 Wednesdays?
It does. And I believe I offered that Wednesday as a
And it didn't
potential
work
date
for
as well.
folks? Okay.
I haven't heard back yet.
Oh,
So that
okay.
is another potential date.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, because there is, those months of 5 Wednesdays
Yeah.
sometimes gives us some flexibility.
Yeah, you are correct.
Good
okay.
idea.
All righty, will do. Well, though I hate to leave, and I know everybody else does, the chair is open to a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Have we a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all. Thank you all in the